streamed from our brains to our mouths, to your ears, to your brain. It's like our brains are holding hands. Brain hands. That doesn't really make sense, but Techwebcast does. Tech stuff, gadgets, games. Come and wander around geek heaven with us. Techwebcast. Here, now. Holding brain hands.
Hey dudes, welcome to episode 288 of the Techwebcast podcast, recorded on the 17th of May 2014. Techwebcast is recorded every Saturday at 12 p.m. Please rate us on iTunes and like us on facebook.com/techwebcast.
All right, nice one. Alex, good job, mate.
Thanks.
You mentioned the hosts. Who are the hosts today?
The hosts today are Alex, Brad, Hannah, Steve, Jacob, and Jody.
That's the go. That's the way. Alex, how are you, mate? Welcome back.
Good, thanks. How you doing?
Good, mate. I'm good. Good to have you back on. Hannah's back on. Welcome, Hannah.
Hello. Thanks for having me again.
No problem. How's your week been?
My week has been pretty good.
What have you been up to?
I've been taking a lot of ginseng.
Oh. Wow. It sounds like
so I've been having a great time.
Too much Red Bull, I think.
A lot of extra energy.
Yeah, stuff is good.
Nice. Steve, what about you?
Hey, how you doing? It's been a pretty good week. Actually, yesterday I went to a Google event, Get Your Business Online, which I covered a little bit for my show too, and it had a lot of useful information for any businesses that are haven't get online yet, using social networking, websites, and things like that. Very interesting.
Cool, mate. And you got a new case as well from Element.
Oh, yeah. There we go. Sector 5.
Is it on your phone yet?
Yeah, well, I'm not even using my other phone yet until I inadvertently ordered everything before my contract's up next week or next month, so we're kind of getting everything ready.
I thought it was already ended.
No, I got
Okay, hang on. Keep talking, Steve. Sarah's getting Sarah in.
Okay. So,
and, welcome, Sarah.
Oh.
Hi.
How are you?
Can you see me?
We can hear you, yes. How are you?
Oh, you can hear me, but you can't see me?
No, there's no. This is not a video. It's an audio podcast.
I went through all that trouble to get all dolled up for nothing?
Well, you can describe what you look like, I guess.
Tell us what you're wearing.
What you're wearing.
Favorite color, blue. Sorry for all the technical difficulties.
That's okay. You're here. Okay, so Steve, yeah, that's good. Jacob, welcome
Love
back.
your accent.
Thank you. Thank you, Sarah. Jacob, how are you?
I'm all right, Brad. How are you?
Good, mate. What have you been up to for the past week?
Nothing much. I'm trying to write a blog post for you.
Nice one. Can't wait to see that.
You'll love it.
Yeah, I will. We got Jody back on. Welcome back, Jody.
Hey, hi, Brad. So here there's a new addition to the family. Not your family.
No, don't. Yeah, okay, yep. It's Andrew.
Andrew,
yeah.
Tell us what happened with Andrew this week.
His wife had a baby.
Woohoo!
Yeah.
A boy, a girl?
Cool.
I think it's a boy.
And his name is?
I've actually got
Zarfo.
Zarfo.
His name is Miles. Congratulations to Andrew and Christy, right?
Christy, yes, that's her name. Yep, Christy, yep.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Be on next week.
Woohoo!
Tell us all about it.
The pictures? Okay.
Yeah, and
No.
My week's been good. I haven't had any babies, but my baby, my puppy dog has been doing great. I'm sure you've been seeing all the pictures.
Yes,
she took best of breed, I think, one day last week, and
nice one.
Yeah, so we're having fun. Yeah.
All right. What else have we? Sarah's back. Sarah, how are you? Welcome.
I'm great.
And where are you from again?
Napa, California.
Okay. Do you know
where the wine's from?
That's where the wine is. You're on a wine vineyard, is that correct?
Napa Valley.
Yep.
Right in the-
Yes, I make wine from grapes grown in a vineyard. That's correct.
Cool. Stuff. You ever been to Australia?
No, I haven't.
They make great wine over here.
That's what I hear. I've had some really good stuff, but I have never been there.
Okay. Well, you should come over and have a look one day.
the vineyards.
Just pop one over.
Yeah, just come over. Get on a plane and
Yeah,
fly
it's
over.
a totally easy, 29-hour flight or something. It's just come around.
Yeah, just come over. I'll take like right.
Pop by for a day.
You know what is really cool though? The Australian government has a wine symposium for winemakers from Australia, and they allow anyone from all over the world who's a winemaker to attend these online seminars. So you get to, I get to interact with lots of Australian winemakers. They do them all year long. So
Nice one.
Cool.
yeah.
Very
That
cool.
definitely was not an initiative of the Abbott government, that's for sure. Hooray.
Oh no, I brought up politics. I'm sorry.
Yeah, let's move on. I'm angry.
Yeah, let's not get Hannah angry because she'll get creepy doll out. Let's get into the news then, Jody.
Okie doke. All kinds of interesting stories this week. First story about podcasts for iOS, and it's now properly outfitted for Siri and CarPlay. Folks that spin favorites through podcasts on iOS to endure the workday can nab an update that should boost listening sessions. Version 2.1 of the standalone app boosts improved browsing by episode, complete with unplayed and feed, available for download or stream tabs for easy access. You can also save favorites for offline enjoyment and tweak the settings to automatically delete sections once you've listened. Siri integration finally makes its debut as well, allowing voice-enabled commands like play podcasts or specific stations with play stuff you should know for the virtual assistant. And there's CarPlay, which we're going to hear probably a lot about. CarPlay support is added to prep for its arrival in autos in the months to come. So that's what's going on with podcasts. Interesting new app this week. I don't know if you guys downloaded it, but Foursquare has a new check-in app called Swarm. It's now available on iPhone and also for Android. The Swarm app is available, but what it does is it lets you find nearby friends and also check into bars, restaurants, and other places. So it's a little bit like Foursquare, but Swarm kind of has a split personality in that you have one app that's useful for finding friends and checking in, and another, which is going to be launched later in the summer, is good for finding places to go nearby. Kind of like Foursquare, Swarm lets you check in to show your friends where you are, but it also uses something that's called passive location. So it signals to show where your friends are, even if you didn't check in. So it's kind of interesting. Where Find My Friends shows you a friend's location down to the foot. Swarm lets you see who's in the neighborhood when you want to get one more drink in at 1 a.m. If you want to hide your location, you can swipe on the app's top bar to go off the grid. Foursquare hopes that by making sharing your location less creepy, people will finally give the concept a shot. Just out of curiosity, guys, do you think this is creepy? Because I'm kind of thinking it's a little creepy.
Well, I think it's a little bit. I used it for like a minute, and then I turned it off and got rid of the app off my phone. Alex, what about you? What do you think about this app?
Yeah, I think this sort of thing definitely has security implications, and
Yeah.
I'm always leery of using them too much.
What about Highlight? Do you use Highlight? Have you ever used Highlight?
No, pretty much the only stuff that I use for check-in is like Yelp or sometimes Facebook, and that's about it.
Okay. All right. Hannah, what about you? Have you seen this app, or what's your opinion?
Well, hey, Jody, can you just read the last sentence of that one more time, please?
The last sentence of the whole thing?
Yeah, the last thing you said.
Oh, okay. So that Foursquare hopes that by making sharing your location less creepy, people will finally give the concept a shot.
Yeah, see, why are they so like, okay, we have to get people okay with sharing their location? Like...
Well, I
just
mean, I understand. When you think about it, okay, so Alex, your brother Robert, he probably uses it because he goes to all these conventions and he can find these people and they can find him, and he can meet people that he's probably talked to online but hasn't met in real life. I mean, for somebody using it that way, it's probably not that creepy. And also, it's for a store that's trying to promote a special to people who are in the area. That like Retail Me Not does that. Like when I'm driving around, it'll tell me that there's specials in stores nearby. I think those kinds of utilities make sense. I think the creepy part has to do more with people knowing where you are all the time, even when you don't want them to.
Yeah, I've been a little bit extra paranoid. I got a few friends who are like conspiracy theorists, and one time I was at a party about a year ago, and I noticed that my friend had his phone off, and I was like, why is your phone off? And he's like, so that my phone can't track my location. And I'm like, but can't you just turn off the location services? And he's like, yeah, but how do you know that they're really still not checking where you are? And so he just turns his phone off. And so ever since then, I'm not that paranoid. I don't turn my phone off, but I pretty much, unless I need to use my GPS, I have my location services turned off, and I just sort of have my fingers crossed that no one's tracking me. And I think, why would anyone want to track me anyway? Because Hannah Silver is not engaged in any illegal activities. So, I think this is going to take us quite a while. And to be honest, I hope that society never becomes complacent with being watched and being followed. That's
right.
To 1984.
Steve,
we'll have videos, cameras in our lounge room, and so they can watch us and see what we're doing, make sure we're not doing anything wrong.
Okay. All right, good answer, Hannah. Steve, what about you? Are you into this app or not?
Not really. I think I tried Foursquare one time. A couple of times I never used it. I don't know. Many people opt in for this anyway, so I guess it's okay with them to share their location. I mean, there's a lot of apps out there right now that you can tag your location if you want to, like photos and Facebook or what have you, when you upload stuff. So, of course, you should make it, voluntary, obviously.
Yeah, definitely. All right, Jake, what about you, mate?
Nothing really about it. But I have something, little bit of add to it. Well, Cisco, I was reading, Cisco, all the people like order their routers and stuff from wherever, and the NSA is taking them and just putting extra chips in them so they could track people, then send it on the way to that person.
All right. Interesting.
A beacon. Better.
Interesting, Jacob.
Yeah, they've been doing that with a lot more than just Cisco routers. Unfortunately, Bruce Schneier's he did a whole series on the exploits that have been revealed as part of the Snowden leaks.
Okay.
Scary stuff when you think about it. And even when your phone, like you think your apps are off, your phone is still transmitting a location. So I don't even know if turning it off is actually going to.
Yeah, I know. They can still find you according to what towers you're getting your signal from. If they really wanted to find you, they could. Easy.
I think you'd have to wrap it in aluminum foil and then put it in the refrigerator.
And then make sure you get some aluminum foil on your head.
Right.
So they can't read your thoughts.
Tinfoil hat, right?
Or you can just take the SIM card of the phone and smash the phone.
Yeah, my brother did that one.
Yeah. Okay, Sarah, what about you? Do you use this sort of features on your phone?
Yeah, but I don't really have anything to hide, so I've never thought about it. But I like to be connected with the world, and I'm surrounded by lots of fantastic people and other winemakers and customers and friends, and they give me great energy all day. So why wouldn't I want to interact with them and hook up if we're in the area, and meet for lunch or. I don't know. I think, and it's also great as a winemaker to be able to share my winemaking experience with the world. I I don't know if anybody's interested in it, but I share it. And I'm so excited about what I get to do every day that it's natural to me to go, oh my God, look at this, or I'm here, or I'm in a vineyard, I'm at the winery, I'm tasting through this, and maybe nobody really cares, but I think it's kind of fun.
Definitely. All right. Jay, next story.
Okay, so the question is, can Australia's quick flicks fend off Netflix? Netflix, as you might have heard, their prices are rising. Quick flicks, on the other hand, their prices are falling. And the question is, can the Aussie battler convince the Aussies to shop locally? Australians have long bemoaned the dearth of local online video services, looking to U.S. streaming giant Netflix as the holy grail of internet video. But times, they are changing. Australian alternatives like quick flicks are gradually reducing subscription prices while striking better distribution deals with Hollywood. Meanwhile, Netflix is at war with some sectors of the U.S. content industry. Netflix's latest price hike doesn't help matters, making it less attractive not only for Australians but also for Americans to sneak into Netflix instead of signing up with local services like QuickFlix. The fact Netflix quietly started accepting Australian credit cards a few years ago indicates it's not too concerned about foreigners sneaking in as long as they're paying customers. This week, Netflix and QuickFlix reached pricing parity for the first time. QuickFlix, listed on the Australian Stock Exchange, recently dropped its entry-level streaming-only plan to Australian $9.99 per month, or you can pay more to also borrow DVDs and Blu-rays through the post. Netflix upped its basic plan to $8.99 a month for new customers this week. Existing customers will pay $7.99 another year or so. So once you allow for exchange rates and foreign transaction fees from your bank, US $8.99 falls only a few cents short of QuickFlix's Australian $9.99. So of course, to sneak into Netflix, you need to mask your location using a virtual private network, proxy server, browser plugin, or DNS-based workaround. If you're paying a few dollars per month for such a service in order to access Netflix, then Netflix is actually costing you more than it is to access QuickFlix. So the question then becomes, do you think you're going to switch? Like, what, are you going to use Netflix? Are you going to switch to QuickFlix? And obviously, this is an Aussie issue, so we'll let the Aussies answer this one.
I know one thing: Netflix will never come to Australia. I said this to Adam Turner yesterday, and he sort of agreed. QuickFlix is good. Have you used it, Hannah? I know you use Netflix, and I don't think you've moved.
Yeah, I'm still like Netflix. I used QuickFlix a few years ago. You took advantage of some promotion where I got to use it for free for a few weeks or something. And when I've gone and looked, I'm not convinced about what they actually have on offer to watch yet, but I'm going to be watching them, and who knows, maybe in like a year or something, I might be switching. I'm definitely open to switching to whichever ends up being the better service.
Yeah, well, they are coming on to Apple TV very soon, so look out.
Cool.
And we're also going to have the CEO on next week from QuickFlix on the show. So
fantastic.
Tune in.
Cool.
Mm-hmm. Tune in. Okay, Jake, what about you?
It's kind of weird how Netflix is not in Australia yet.
Well, it's not going to come to Australia, mate.
No, I'm just saying, if it did.
Well, if it did.
There's a problem with Australia because we're so large on the map, we can be misperceived as a large country, but our population is only, 18 or 20 million for the entire country. That's our population. So it's a small market, so I can understand why some businesses just don't come here.
Yeah, and if it did come to Australia, it won't be the same what you get over in the US either. All Australian stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, what about you, Alex?
Yeah, the whole state of streaming video and this whole business is pretty screwed up, and I'm not sure it's ever going to get properly sorted out. There's just so much fragmentation between the media outlets and the distribution It's really sad that Netflix is only available in certain places, and even then, their content isn't, at least online, isn't very comprehensive, to say the least.
What do you use to watch TV? What do you use?
I use Netflix, Hulu, and Amazon Prime now.
Okay, on the Apple TV or?
No, on the I just bought the Amazon Fire TV.
Oh, nice. What's that like? Is it good?
Yeah, it's pretty good. We use that and still use the Apple TV a little bit.
Mm. Yeah, I love the Apple TV. I use it every day. Airplane stuff is good. I love it. What about you, Steve?
I don't know. It's funny that you mentioned it because I could have sworn Netflix was coming to Australia. I thought that was a done deal, but I
thought it was going to come to Australia, but I don't think it will. But
well, did they say they were, or it just?
Well, I heard
through?
rumors, but it may or may not happen. But I don't know. I just wish QuickFlix. It's an Australian company, and it's good for Australians to support. Australia.
Yeah. Can you guys get Hulu Plus over there either?
No.
Yeah,
no,
I think so. Okay.
You have to use a VPN or, if you want to use that sort of stuff.
And let me cut in, Brad. They're fixing to cut it.
Yeah, I heard you. They are. They're cutting it off, so you can't use it. If you're in Australia, you can't use it.
Anywhere.
Really?
That's not available.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, even they found a way to know if you're using a VPN.
Oh, okay. Interesting. Okay.
It's just crazy.
It is. Yeah, it is. It is crazy. What about you, Sarah?
I think she just dropped off.
Oh, did she?
Did she?
Okay, Grady, do you have a view on this?
I'm still here. I'm sorry. Actually, I kind of expressed my opinion. I love Netflix, first of all. I think Netflix is dynamite, and it's a shame that you guys can't get it legitimately. I don't know anything about QuickFlix because I've never seen it.
Yeah,
but
QuickFlix is the same sort of thing as Netflix, streaming TV shows and movies. You can buy it and stuff. And
well, I mean, if I was in Australia, I probably would get QuickFlix only because I think it's easier, and if it's got similar broadcasting, then it makes sense. But what I like about Netflix is the stuff that they make themselves. I like
right, yeah, definitely.
Oranges.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Orange is the New Black.
Totally.
Yeah,
the Arrested Development.
Yeah. Oh God, that was awesome. House of Cards.
Yeah.
I know
they
Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say they've done some interesting programming. So I'm sorry, Steve. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm just going to mention that their streaming technology is really down pat with Netflix. It's almost, in many cases, like watching it almost like a DVD. You could, in some cases, you couldn't tell. Of course, before I was using a CRT television, but it might make a difference if you're using HDTV.
Yeah, and there also 4K's coming too, isn't it, Steve? 4K on Netflix. It's on.
Yeah, I think that's going to be coming too. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, prepare to have an absolutely incredibly massive download.
Yeah, that's going to be a problem.
You probably would need a 4K TV too to view it in.
Yeah.
Yep, definitely. Sarah, welcome back. What's your view on this story? QuickFlix and Netflix. Do you use these service?
And I think she just dropped again.
Again, okay. Jody?
Oh, yeah.
Sorry.
Okay, so is everybody still here?
Yeah, we're here.
Yeah, we're here.
Okay. Okay. Let's move on, I think, to the next story, which has to do with net neutrality.
Yep.
And also with Netflix and Comcast. I mean, boiling it down into the lowest common denominator, the issue of net neutrality has everybody up in arms. And what that has to do with is that the service provider should be neutral regardless of content. The argument is that this difference of opinion between Netflix and Comcast is a business argument, not necessarily a net neutrality argument. Apparently, Comcast wants some kind of fee from Netflix, and then they'll allow them to stream. I don't know, guys, if you read the story or not, but I'm curious whether you think it's a net neutrality issue. Is it a business or throttling issue? Do you have any opinion at all?
I don't have an opinion at all. Alex, do you have an opinion on this?
Yeah, I remember reading about this, and yeah, it's not necessarily about net neutrality, but it's certainly about companies like Netflix being able to pay a fair price for right away. They're typically using intermediaries, and Comcast and other companies are blocking those intermediaries from, or they're throttling them. They're basically not playing very very nice. And my personal opinion, I don't think that companies should be able to do what Comcast is doing. They shouldn't be able to charge more than the typical market rate for companies like Netflix to be able to service their customers.
Okay, Steve, what about you?
I'm kind of the same way. I don't think they really should be charging any more than they would anybody else normally. I can see too that in a slight way, where obviously their customers streaming all these movies, because it is probably the one of the biggest uses of internet during the peak hours. I think 1/3 of the internet is actually streaming Netflix. So I could see in a way where that might take bandwidth away, but then you got to think, are they going to spend this extra money they're getting from Netflix and maybe increase their bandwidth or something like that? More than likely, they're just going to put it in their pockets.
Okay, good answer, Steve. Jake, what about you? What's your view on this?
I have no comment, really. I don't really like it at all, the net neutrality in general.
Okay. Hannah, what about you?
I don't know the details, but they sound like fascist blackmailers.
Wow.
They're like,
6 feet off them.
Yeah,
you can't do your thing unless you pay us money. You have to give us money. That's what it sounds like to me. They
Pretty
sound like
much.
little children. We have to keep making millions of dollars. Give us more money. That's what they sound like.
I love your answers, Hannah. They're great. That's why I want you on the show each week. Jody, what about you? Next story.
Okay, next story. Those of you who use Adobe and love Adobe Creative Cloud, apparently there was an extended outage this week. They were down for more than 24 hours, and it is now restored. So, not much more to that story.
Okay. Next story. Jody, next story.
Okay. Autodesk is making a 3D printer to showcase its new software platform. Kind of cool. I mean, this whole concept of 3D printers. Apparently, it's going to be like in the $5,000 price range, which kind of puts it out of the range of the average consumer. But it's supposed to employ a broad range of materials, but there's no info exactly on what it is going to do and or include. But it's cool, a 3D printer.
Cool.
Okay?
Yeah, cool.
Okay, next. CarPlay. An iPhone on wheels gives cars an upgrade. Okay, so Pioneer Electric is bringing Apple's CarPlay technology into your dashboard. So now you can turn your car into an iPhone on wheels. In March, Apple announced that it was partnering with a range of car makers from Mercedes to Toyota to offer CarPlay. CarPlay allows consumers to use their iPhones in their cars to make calls, use maps, listen to music, and access messages, which we do now anyway, but that's a different story. Okay, so now you don't have to buy that new car. You can get CarPlay because Pioneer Electronics is going to integrate it with 5 existing radios. So I know you're like dying to talk about this, and you just can't wait. So who's going to be the first one to turn their car into an iPhone?
Well, let's go to Hannah, because I know Hannah's got a car. Are you going to turn your phone in your car?
Well, actually, see, I had a look at the thing, and it looks great, but I would prefer, because when you're in the car, you can't really do that much, can you? You've got to drive. So, like, it's great. It's got this touch screen and you can use your phone in the car. Cool, because, I mean, you can already do that. But what I really want is that thing that they're putting in a car, and I want someone to make a version that I can stick on my bathroom wall, because I spend like at least half an hour in the bathroom every day having a shower, I listen to music, and I want to know what the weather is, and I want to know what's going on. And I've seen this in movies and stuff. Why can't they make one that I can stick on my bathroom wall?
I think there is one, actually.
Is it affordable? Please tell me. I want to buy it.
You know what? I use this thing. It's called a quad lock on my iPhone, and I can put it on the handlebar of my motorcycle, and it's got this shroud that goes over it. It's a rain shroud, so it keeps it dry. You'd probably use that. Like you could stick it on the wall.
Motorcycle?
What?
You drive a motorcycle?
Yeah.
That's
When
awesome.
I'm not showing dogs. Very eclectic things that I do. Yes. But I'm almost positive I saw one that goes in the shower, and I will look for it, Hannah.
Cool.
I'll
Yeah,
see if I can find it for you.
All right.
Yeah.
Steve, what about you?
I'd be actually interested in this CarPlay if it sounded like Kit from Knight Rider. That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
And Steve takes a giant step backwards in time.
Yeah, the 80s. Awesome.
All right. Oh, you want to say, Steve?
Yeah, that's all I want to say. Yeah, that's the only thing I can think of.
Alex, what about you?
Yeah, I don't really much see the point beyond what my phone can already do for me in the car connected to my stereo over Bluetooth. So, I mean, it just seems kind of gimmicky to me.
Okay. Jake, what about you? You don't have a car, but would you use this if you had a car, mate?
Yes, but I would probably put it in my dad's car. But on what Steve was saying, if Kit was in his car, it's like, "Good morning, Steve."
I think it'd be awesome. Yeah, see, he agrees with me. Awesome.
Alex, would you use CarPlay or would you use Google Glass?
Oh, wow.
I'd probably use CarPlay before I'd use Google Glass. Besides, I have a bet with my brother that I'm not going to buy Google Glass within a year.
Wow. Have you used Google Glass yet, Alex? Have you used it?
Yeah, I played with it for like 5 minutes or whatever when I was down the Bay Area last time.
Okay. And you didn't like it?
It's the same thing. It just seems kind of gimmicky right now.
Yeah, same. I agree, mate. I tried it out when I met Robert when he was in Melbourne. I used it and I couldn't. Too hard. It's really frustrating. Moving on the side now.
Alex, I like the way you think.
So good on you, Alex. You're a legend, mate. Sarah, welcome back.
Hi.
Tell us about what you do.
Oh, I thought we were still talking about the CarPlay thing.
Oh, what did you want to say about that?
Well, what radios does it work with? Does it have to be like a newer radio, or
You'll have,
can it be
you'll have to buy a Pioneer radio.
Yeah.
But that's the whole point of the story, that at first they were just installing it in new cars, and now they're like, hey, you don't have to buy a new car, you can just buy a Pioneer radio.
Oh, so you can
and the radios only range from $700 to $1,400, not including installation.
Yeah, I watched a news report.
Was so excited.
I watched a news report about this, and I took note of how the guy said, and this radio system really won't cost very much money, at least when you compare it to the price of a new car. And I thought, okay, so how much are they going to slug us for on this one? Yeah, sure, it won't be as much as a new car, but it still cost at least an arm, if not a leg.
Or both.
I have an old farm truck, a Land Rover Discovery, like a 2003 model, that I just haul stuff around and go to the vineyards with. But so it can't play anything modern. It still has a cassette tape.
I'd love to see a farm tractor with this CarPlay in it. That'd be great. Roll around the farm with your touchpad screen in the tractor.
I would like that. That would be awesome. I would like to speak to Siri while I'm in the vineyard, but
speak to Siri. Yeah, because speaking to Siri is much better than ringing a friend and having a human conversation.
I like to just boss her around.
Yeah.
Okay, then that's it, Jody, for the news.
You got what do you have left? You have something to do with Microsoft's fastest typing record, which isn't important. So let's just keep going and let's move on.
Okay.
Let's talk to Sarah.
I'm not sure what Jacob added that story for. But Jacob, what was the point of that story?
Can type fast.
Jacob?
It's just a world record, that's all.
Okay, tell us about it just real quick, will you?
No, I didn't read it.
Oh, for God's sake.
I put it in there, though.
Why add it if you didn't read it, mate?
He wanted to surprise himself.
I know. Sarah, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
No problem. Tell us about what you do.
Well, I make wine. I have Cabernet and Chardonnay are my first loves, and I'm on my 4th vintage
Nice.
right now. So that's what I do.
And how much? What are the wines range in price? How much are they? Can people buy them and that sort of thing?
Oh, my first vintage released in September of last year, sold out about, 50, 60 days later.
Okay.
And it was 150. This 2011 vintage that's about to release is 200. It's about 65, 70% sold. So I don't really get much of a chance to, I don't know how you would say that, but I don't, they go quickly.
You ship to Australia?
Well, I have some distributors and exporters that can, yes.
Okay, cool. Good stuff. Okay, Jody, any questions for Sarah?
Yeah, Sarah, I'm curious, how did you get started?
Good question. Well, I actually have always been fascinated and mesmerized by grapes and grapevines since I was a really little tot. So my great-grandmother used to have a hobby vineyard as a part of her garden and orchard, and she had this certain section that had a small amount of grapevines. She didn't make wine, but she liked to grow things. And I apparently was mesmerized by this section of grapevines and had them all named and talked to them and did puppet shows and sang to them. And my parents say that everywhere we moved after that, my dad was an iron worker, and so we had to move a lot. And that even though we didn't have that anymore, I would just pretend that they were there, and I would I would dig a hole in the ground and water a big empty hole and talk to my grape friends. And then, I've been this way my entire life, I'm sure that's not normal.
Grape friends.
But I know they've been my friends, and I've been fascinated, and I still, to this day, am absolutely smitten whenever I'm in a vineyard or anywhere near grapes or wine in a winery. I can't explain it. It's like being around your first love, and it never ends. It never gets old. It never deadens. There is no lull in it. It's always exciting to me. It's always mesmerizing. My heart always skips a beat.
Cool. So you're the girl that talked to grapes. Okay.
Yeah.
Grape whisperer.
Yeah.
Did the grape say anything interesting to you, Sarah?
Oh, dear God.
Probably not.
Did we lose her?
I'm not sure. Are you there, Sarah?
No, I'm still here.
Oh, okay.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
So you met Robert Scoble?
Yes, I love Robert Scoble.
Yep. How'd you meet him? Did you just meet him online? That sort of thing?
It's a really cool story, really fun story. So I get a call from people at Tesla Motor Tours, and they apparently had gotten a phone call from someone within Robert Scoble's entourage, expressing that they were going to be attending the Napa Valley Film Festival, and that they wanted to, as a part of their experience, meet an up-and-coming winemaker. And did Tesla, as a part of their tour, have any suggestions? And they gave me a call and said, you were the first that came to mind. Would you be willing to do it? It's very short notice. And I said, when is it? And they go, tomorrow. I was like, oh, wow. How many people? And they said, like 30. I was like, wow. Oh, my goodness. And so me and a group of friends and other winemakers made it all come together in Rutherford. And when I first met them, I had no idea who they were. Somebody told me Steve Wozniak was going to be there, and a movie director, writer for one of the films that was showcasing, and that's basically all I knew. And this person named Robert Scoble, who I was told, this was a funny description, was like the Oprah Winfrey of the technology world.
Oh, yeah. That's
And I thought, well, I got to meet that person.
he's great. He's a good, nice guy.
Yeah. And you know what? I met him and Miriam, his wife. And you know when you meet people that have a certain energy and you just know you found your long lost friend and you have an instant bond, that was what it was like. We were both so excited to learn about what each other did that it was fascinating experience. I didn't really know anything about technology. The technology space was very new to me, but if it contained people like Robert Scoble and Miriam Scoble, and the other people that I met there, oh my God, I was intrigued. I was fascinated. And likewise, he felt like my story about wine and how I came to wine and all the struggles that I endured to bring it to pass was fascinating. And so we've been mad good friends ever since. We hang out a lot. He's one of the best human beings I've ever met. Actually.
Good stuff. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Jacob,
I would trust anything he says. I mean, I've learned so much about technology. It's amazing how his mind works.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how well you all know him, but I mean, he thinks so futuristically.
Yeah, definitely.
It's stunning. It's
He's
stunning the way his brain works.
Very smart guy.
Yeah.
Very smart guy.
Yeah.
Jacob, any questions?
Just one.
Yeah.
What was your best wine that you have made or thinking of making?
My first wine, 2010, still blows my mind. I sold it all, but I have some of my customers who will occasionally invite me to share in a bottle of my own wine, and to this day, it's still I don't know how to explain it. It's like you come home. You know, you feel at home and at ease, and all the world is right again. And so I love those experiences. And since that vintage, every vintage has been a wild, crazy ride of learning. I do everything hands-on. I'm very meticulous about the way I farm and participate in the farming aspect in the vineyard. And I'm very technical about it, meaning that I keep logs, and I'm very actually interested. Scoble actually mentioned these like radio frequency beacons that transmit data, collect data, and transmit it to your iPhone or iPad, whatever. Those are very interesting and intriguing to me. I think I probably will try something like that someday, because right now I take books, tons and tons of books like notebooks, and I document everything at various times of the day. What's happening with the vines. And so I would think technology would be a great way to simplify that process for me and make it more accessible. But I've used everything I've ever done from day one. It goes into the next vintage, and so it only gets better. And each vintage is like, it's like Russian roulette. You don't know what nature's going to give you. You don't know what kind of weather you're going to have, what the growing season is going to be like. And so it's a wild, crazy adventure. I can tell you that I tasted my 2013s today and I wept. Wine is a very moving substance to me. It's a very, I'm so passionate about it. I'm so thankful that I get to do it. And you worry about it. It's like worrying about your children or, anything that you would naturally worry about the welfare of. And so it's constantly on my mind. And I haven't been in the winery for about a week now. I had some other things I had to take care of. And so going in there today, I was, kind of worried. I had some concerns about how things were coming around with some of the vintages in barrel. And it was an awesome moment. There was actually a leak in one of the 2013 barrels, and we cleaned that up. And I make very small amounts of wine. Let me just say that. Cool. So when I say vintages and barrels, we're talking like one or two for each vintage. So I have a very small amount of wine, and I'm very protective of it. But there was a small leak in one of the barrels, and I do all barrel fermenting and then barrel aging. And I think I'm one of the first winemakers ever to kind of combine everything that's really difficult and out there about wine all into a regimen. So I hand pick, and then we hand sort directly in the vineyard into brand new French oak, and then we spin the barrels or hand punch them down. It depends on the variety and the vintage that we're working with. But And we then take that to press after it's done fermenting, and we return that juice back into barrels and reseal the heads and keep on aging. It's a very time-consuming process, very expensive. It's the most expensive, time-consuming way to make wine. But it does... What happens when you barrel ferment it, it creates this long polymer chain. God, I feel like I'm talking a lot.
Hey, all right, keep talking. It's good to hear about it.
You've got an audience here. We're all listening, so keep.
Okay, great. So, what it does when you barrel ferment, it's an old world style. It's an ancient practice, but it creates a long polymer chain, and so the mouthfeel is much more silkier, like an aged wine. So, what happens is the wine, it doesn't really change any other aspect of the wine, but it does help integrate tannins from oak directly upon harvest. And that makes for a long polymer chain and a silkier mouthfeel. And so the wine is much more approachable immediately upon bottling. It's kind of, it's really fantastic, actually. But not very many winemakers or wineries do it because it's so expensive. Now, they might take a portion of their vintage and do a barrel ferment, or they might use a combination of used barrels and new barrels. But I don't think anybody's ever hand-picked, hand-destemmed right in a vineyard and took the grapes from vine directly into brand new French oak right there in the vineyard. I know a lot of people were in an uproar about it. But I like it because actually I saw some other younger winemakers and other traditional wineries here in Napa Valley actually pick up barrel fermenting. I'm not saying I spawned that trend or anything, but I love the fact that there was a return to the essence of old world style winemaking. And isn't that the way everything works? We always end up returning. We're talking about technology, right? But we always return to our roots somehow. We have a human need to be connected in a very natural state. We need to be rooted and grounded. And I think when we use our hands and we connect with other people or plants or whatever, that gives us much more satisfaction in life for whatever reason. Technology, is awesome because it can make, everything easier. And so it's exciting, but
Yep.
I love that return and balance. And so I found that very inspiring. But to answer your question, my first vintage and the 2013 vintage so far are my favorite vintages. But it's hard because it's like picking one of your children. I tasted the 12 and the 11 today. They're both fantastic, remarkable. But the cool thing about the 2013 is that everything I learned from 11 and 12 went into 13 and from 10. And so 10 is your first, so it's like your first love, and it can do no wrong, right? And then 11 trumps 10, but you're like, and then 12 gets better, and then 13 is like, da-da-da-da, and you're just with bated breath waiting for 2014 harvest to arrive. So
Nice one.
that was a long answer to a simple question.
That's okay. What sort of technology do you like to use, Sarah, each day?
Well, I like to use my iPad and I use my iPhone, and don't make fun of me because you guys are much more advanced technology-wise than I am. But I love Evernote. Is that like an ancient thing to everybody on here, or is that something you guys use?
It's great.
I think it's the best thing in the whole wide world. I can make a video, I can make a comment with my voice, I can write something, I can text something, I take a picture of, for instance, I do all my SO2 additions, sulfur additions to preserve the wine and barrel. I do all these manual calculations, and I do it based on some parameters. A lot of other winemakers will do like a general estimate, and they try to keep it at 50 parts per million or whatever. I don't. I do everything by molecular weight. And I do a specific calculation for every single barrel. It's very time consuming, but I really love doing it. So it doesn't feel time consuming to me. Okay. And so I use Evernote to keep track of all that, and I use my iPad and my iPhone, and don't I sound tech savvy?
Are you an Apple fan? Do you use an Apple computer?
You know what? I love Apple.
That's great.
I think it's because somehow I feel I identify greatly with Steve Jobs.
There you go, Jake. She's even on Apple, mate. Time for you to move to Apple. Is Apple computer?
No, I
What?
don't.
Oh, yeah.
I build my own, or for laptops I buy whatever Costco sells.
Okay, cool. Alex, you have any questions for Sarah?
Yeah, how did you get started in winemaking? I know I've read some of the stories that my brother told. Like I don't know if you've read his story about going to the Ritz with a bottle of your wine and telling the sommelier there that you don't have any wine as good as this. And
Wait a minute, you're Robert Scoble's brother?
Yeah, I'm his youngest brother.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Oh, even I didn't know that. Wow.
Really, Steve?
No, I didn't.
Oh, come on. Steve, God, he's been on here before, mate.
Yes.
Oh,
No,
that's
well,
awesome.
nobody mentioned it.
Yeah, Robert is a very passionate human being, and when he believes in something, he demands an audience, and I really respect and admire that about him. I'm very similar in that I don't always know boundaries or anything like that. I just have no problem marching in wherever. But the Ritz-Carlton at Half Moon Bay is a very special place. They have amazing sommelier there. They have an amazing group of people, and it's all Silicon Valley tech-based people, but they're cool and they're awesome and they're passionate, and they'll talk about a variety of subjects, and they'll walk in, and at first it might be like 5 or 6 people, and then next thing you know there's 100 people sitting around a wine bar talking about the most fantastic things happening in the world today over a glass of wine that they feel is absolutely mesmerizing. It's a very, very awesome experience. I encourage everybody to go.
And there's also great beaches there too, Sarah, as well.
Yeah,
Nice
there's that.
beaches. Yeah, nice beaches. Oh, really nice. I love the beaches
It's
there.
beautiful. I don't know if you know Andy Grignon. He used to work for Apple, and he's developing a new platform called 8ly. He actually gave me a tour of the beach the last time I was up there just a few weeks ago. We watched the sunset. There was another sommelier there who was visiting, who's launched a new online wine retailer called Somm Select. His name is Ian Cobble. He was in the movie Somm. And we all did this beach tour with Andy Grignon, and it was so beautiful to watch the sunset. You know?
Nice one. Nice.
It's nice to have those pausing moments, which is one of the reasons why I make wine, because the whole challenge I give to myself, the whole reason my heart beats is to create a wine that will cause people to have a Zen moment in life, meaning that time stands still and you are forced to be in the present moment. And that's what wine does for me, and it's something that I am obsessed with making happen for other people. So that's what I hope my wine does.
Good stuff. Steve, any questions?
Yeah, I got quite a few questions. Actually, I'm a big wine drinker, which I picked up when I was in the military. I had a chance to go to Europe, and of course, they drink a lot of wine over there. And I got a chance to see quite a few wineries, tours and things like that. And I agree. I think wine's probably best when it's made in some kind of wooden cask. I've seen some made in stainless steel containers, not quite the same thing. I even seen one. I think the one of them I went to, they reused the same wooden oak cask like for supposedly 100 years. It was very old, you could tell. Do you reuse, or do you get new ones, or do you reuse the same ones? Just wash them out, or?
Well, for my Chardonnay, I use neutral French oak. And for my Cabernet, it's all new French oak. And I use different barrels of French cooperages, but and then we blend those at the end, right before bottling. I can say, here's something really cool that I just became intrigued by. There is a winery here owned by a Mondavi up on Pritchard Hill, which is one of my most favorite places in the Napa Valley. It's just magical. And I'm very attracted to and drawn to winemakers that are terroir driven. And that family is very terroir driven, and they have absolutely invested all their energy and resources in showcasing what Pritchard Hill can do as a part of Napa Valley. And interesting thing, I at Ritz-Carlton with Scoble and all them a couple weeks ago, their son, Carlo Mondavi, was there. And they have a project up at Pritchard Hill called Continuum. It is, oh my God, wine. Oh my God, it's fantastic. And I was talking to him, and he was talking to me about these concrete eggs. And I go, yeah. I've seen those used at Hartwell by Benoit, and he's making some projects out there. Usually there's like Sauvignon Blanc. I thought you guys were just doing Cab. He goes, no. We do Cab. We do half of it in concrete eggs and half of it in New French oak. And my mind was blown, and now I'm obsessed with learning about that. And he said, "Oh, you got to go over to Sonoma County. They make them there, and the people at Scribe, which is a fantastic Pinot Noir maker, on the edge of Napa, just below the end of the Canaros Napa region, just on the outskirts of Sonoma and Napa." Scribe is a group of young winemakers who inherited some vineyards, and they're doing some fantastic things with Pinot Noir there. And they're using these concrete eggs. And so, these are the things that we experiment with as winemakers. And one winery is brave enough to, forge that. And then others start to dabble in it. And so, to everyone out there listening, Sarah Francis would like a concrete egg.
Wow.
Please, oh please.
What's the reason for charring the inside of the wooden barrels? I mean, I knew they did that, but I never figured out why you would think that it wouldn't make the wine taste very good. But what's the reason behind that?
Well, different toast levels add different aspects to wine as it's aging. And cooperages are artisans, and everything is handcrafted, and they are very forest specific, and they know exactly what attributes of that forest and the tree specifically that they use for those barrels that they're making bring to wine. And so their toast levels have a lot to do with what are you trying to showcase about that forest, about that specific artisan, about that specific cooperage, about the way that barrel is handmade, and what is it going to bring to your wine. And so that's where toast levels come. They add nuances to wine. And there's actually some people out there who will take old barrels and refresh them by doing another toast on them. They shave them and then retoast them. So
okay.
It's very common, and I don't know how to explain it beyond that.
Okay. Any more questions, Steve?
Oh, that's good.
Now, Sarah, you got a great dog. You have a Labrador.
Oh, I do. His name is Ralph.
Tell us about your dog.
So Ralph is over 100 years old in human years. And he's been my best friend for, 15, 16 years now. Maybe longer than that. I stopped counting. I think it was offensive to him, so I stopped.
Yeah, wow.
Because he still thinks he's a puppy. Like, he will get up, and even though he's arthritic and he has cataracts really bad, he still inside feels like he's a puppy. And he'll go full force, let's go for a ride, let's go for a walk, and then he might collapse 10 steps later.
Wow.
It's like he forgets that he's an old dog.
Good on him.
And he's handsome. Have you seen pictures of him?
I have. I've seen a video of you did a video the other while back of him.
Yeah, he was, when I first came here 4 or 5 years ago, he was stuck in Nashville, and at that time they didn't have any ways to ship animals. You could fly your dog by plane, but it had they're in the cargo hold because it's such a big dog. He's over 100 pounds, and the temperature has to be a certain point, and it can't drop below that or go above that the entire route. And he was in Nashville, Tennessee, and so it was heartbreaking because I couldn't ever bring him out here. And my dream was for him to participate in my dream of being a winemaker. You want your best friend involved in everything, and so it was really heartbreaking for me to have to go without him. But then there was this new company that came out, and they offered shipping of animals, anything. You can ship anything anywhere. It's called U-Ship. It's awesome. And you bid, and there was a person bringing some horses, some thoroughbreds, and they had like a dually truck, and they had some dog crates that they could put in the back of the dually truck, and they were going to stop off and feed and walk them. And so I paid them a few $100s, and they loaded up Ralph and brought him from Nashville, Tennessee to Napa Valley, California. And the first thing that we did was go to the vineyard, and he ran. There were so many jackrabbits out there, and rabbits. He ran for hours, and then he collapsed.
And this is going to be a dumb question, Sarah. What are jackrabbits for people that who don't know?
I'm not really sure, except for I can describe them to you. They're like gigantic rabbits. They're very thin rabbits. They're not the round, fluffy, fat kind.
Okay.
They have extra long legs, extra long ears. I don't know why. And I see them all the time in vineyards.
Sounds like rabbits on steroids.
Yeah, but they're not like big. They're like thinner rabbits, longer bodies, longer legs, extra long ears. So normal rabbits that I've seen in the past are like, these huge, fat, fluffy rabbits.
Yeah. Hannah, any questions, Hannah?
You got me in the middle of a coughing fit. You can pass me by.
Oh, sorry. Whoops. Okay.
Hey, does your dog drink wine? Oh, sorry. Or did you know? Do you feel like
he has before?
Oh, he has. Yeah.
He has before. We have a Sunday brunch tradition.
Oh, really?
He loves mimosas and bacon. Bacon is his favorite food. And actually, my son is a chef, Christopher Raymer, and he just posted on. My dog is actually staying with my son at the moment, and Christopher has resorted to actually hand making Ralph's food. So, I think Ralph's now the most spoiled dog on the planet.
I think he might be. What about your dog, Jody? Is your dog very spoiled? You got two dogs.
What do you think?
Probably.
They are.
That's probably a dumb question.
Yeah. Incidentally, Sarah, not far from you, there's a veterinarian. His name is Ken Tudor, and he makes these vitamins because homemade dog food. This is like, how do I know this stuff, right? But a lot of people, when they make homemade dog food, they don't necessarily know all the right ingredients to put in. So what they did was they created formulas. So it's like, because turkey is different than beef, is different than fish, is different, So what they did was they created these formulas. So you use this amount of meat and this amount of whatever else, and then he has the vitamins and minerals that you add in to make it complete. So
what's his name?
His name is Ken Tudor, and the stuff is called Hearthstone.
And where is he at? What town?
Somewhere like in. I know it's West Coast, but I'm going to say somewhere near LA, but I'm not quite sure what town it is. Okay. It's but it's.
I'm going to LA tomorrow. I will look him up and I'll say, hey, Techwebcast told me to come here.
There you go. Yeah, but I mean, seriously, my concern whenever I hear somebody's making homemade dog food, while I think it's awesome because you're definitely giving your dog great ingredients, I always am concerned that that it's balanced. So
right. Yeah, well, totally. Ralph has since he came here to California. Well, actually, when he was in Nashville too, I put him on an organic diet. Basically, eats whatever I eat. I would be twice as fat as I was if I didn't have a dog because he eats half of everything I eat. But if he does eat kibble, it's always been organic. I don't know. I feel like my animal deserves the same level of health that I do, and I want him to be healthy and strong. And I think that organic bacon, mimosas, organic orange
I went to your dog.
So what is organic bacon?
I rescued him. I rescued him. He was tied up to one of those tie-outs. A little girl found him. I had a chocolate lab and he died of cancer. And I was at the veterinarian's office, and he said, "Oh, have you seen this dog on the bulletin board? There's a little girl that found this full blood yellow lab. It's English style, which means he's got the wider body, muscular, shorter legs, and all that good stuff, big head." And he goes, he's got a lot of energy, and her dad says she's going to have to euthanize him if she can't find somebody soon to take him. And he's on this tie-out, but the vet had seen him, and he said he's just a remarkable animal. And so I got in my car. I had a Ford Expedition at the time.
That train, Tom.
And I drive out there with this big monstrosity vehicle to this farm, and there's this little girl. She's like 11 years old. She reminded me a lot of myself, and she like looked me up and down, was looking at my car, make sure it was all okay. I was a good person. She like asked me what faith and religion I was, and
my.
she wanted to make sure that my dog was going, her dog was going to a happy, healthy, safe home where it would be loved. And she said, she said, I secretly think he's an inside dog, but I have to keep him out. He was full of ticks and burrs and all kinds. He was so nasty, dirty. I took him to the car wash right after that. And then I brought him home, and, well, that's a long story. I won't go into that, but you know that movie Marley and Me?
Yes.
Oh, that's Ralph. Ralph has done all of those things and more. He's ate through a metal garage door.
Oh, wow.
He has eaten my couch, our Christmas tree, Bombay West, you name it. The drywall out of the trim around the doors, linoleum, tile. It doesn't matter. And I went to the vet and I go, oh my God, my whole family might leave me over this dog. So can you out here? And he goes, Labradors are retrievers. They need to be by their master. He has a heart connection with you. And he knows your scent. He knows when you're around, and he longs to be with you. If he feels your scent in the house and he can't get to you, he's going to chew and claw his way to get to you. That's his design and his breed. And so he said, stop barricading him in places. Like quit putting him in the garage thinking that's the safest place and he won't destroy anything, because he literally can destroy anything if he puts his mind to it, because that's how much he cares about you. And I think I like instantly understood Ralph at that point. And so I started like leaving everything in the house open, and we never had a problem after that. He's a fantastic dog, and he captures the hearts of every person he's ever met.
Right stuff. I hear train, Sarah. Do you live near a train place?
Yeah, so that's the Napa Valley wine train. We have this
cool.
fantastic train that goes the entire length of Napa Valley. I'm pretty sure it's the entire length. Starts in downtown Napa and goes, I think, all the way up to Calistoga, which we consider Upper Napa Valley. And it stops a couple of places along the way, depending on what time of day you get on the train. And there's different cars. There's some that have like glass ceilings so you can see out. There's like a drinks only car, and there's a full dinner experience with wine pairings. And then there are certain wineries you can get off on certain trains and go experience. And I've never done it. And yet I am consumed. Every person that says, what do you want to do? What do you want to do? I go, let's go on the Napa Valley Wine Train. They go, But I'm telling you, I am going to do it. And I don't care how touristy it is. Do you guys do touristy stuff in Australia?
No, I don't. Hannah, do you do any tourist stuff in Australia?
Yeah. One of my favorite things to do is in Melbourne, we've got trams, and there's this one tram which is the restaurant tram, and it's an old style sort of tram, and you go on it, you pre-book and you go on it, and you have this amazing meal, and it's decked out all beautifully on the inside. And it's so beautiful on the inside of the tram, and the food is so good that looking out the window at Melbourne is actually a bit gross. So yeah, that's one touristy thing that I like. How much
does it cost, Hannah, to go on there?
It depends on whether you go for. They have either 4-course meals or 5-course meals, so it ranges, I think, something between $70 and $120, and you're on the tram for either 3 or 4 hours, something like that. And it's like unlimited drinks and yeah, amazing food. I love it.
So, what sort of places would you recommend for Sarah if she comes to Melbourne?
Well,
yeah,
I would.
Because I'm coming.
We've got a couple of wine regions pretty close. I just say, hey, why don't you just go? I can't think of it now. We've got Brad, can you think of the wine region close to us?
I'm not sure. I'm not really good with.
Yeah, I don't drink wine, so I don't think about it very often. But yeah,
we're gonna have to change that. Just.
Well, yeah, no. Health reasons I don't drink alcohol, but also I've just never liked wine. But actually, I was going to say, it was unfortunate I had my coughing fit just as Brad decided to throw to me. I was eating a sandwich. Yeah, no, I don't like wine, but Sarah, listening to you talk makes me just think, wow, I would like to try your wine. Just like, maybe I would like your wine. I don't know.
Yeah, it's no, don't get me wrong. Wine is definitely an acquired taste and appreciation, and but once you experience it on a certain level, it's amazing how much time stands still. Do you scuba dive?
No.
No. Who rides
What a
the
random
motorcycle?
question.
My person surely scuba dives.
I can sing pretty good.
You guys get all that beautiful water there and reefs, and you don't scuba dive?
Well, down south in close to Melbourne, we just have a bay down here. So we have lots of beaches, but it's a bit boring. Like there isn't even any waves. You can't go surfing down here.
Boring. How could it possibly be boring?
Oh no, it's lovely. It's lovely. Like when it's hot, cool, go down to the bay, but you can't go surfing. You just hang out in the water and like play catch and stuff.
I scuba dive. I'll come.
Awesome. So, scuba diving is a Zen sport too. You know, you're fascinated and mesmerized about the reason I got involved in scuba diving was my dad asked me he wanted this for his birthday for me to learn how, and he said the Earth is covered in over 70% water. You're missing out what 70% of the world has to offer you. Why wouldn't you want to experience that? And when I did experience it, it was like time stood still and I was caught in the moment and I was just taking it all in. And I didn't care about what happened 5 minutes ago. I didn't care about what was going to happen tomorrow. I was just basking in the moment. And I related it a lot to wine. So even if you don't like the taste of wine, once you get into the experience of wine and you begin to realize the craftsmanship that goes into it, the quest to make perfect wine, and how artisan-based it is, and how grounded the people are, and how invested they are in dirt, which sounds crazy, but they'll kill over a plot of land. It's everyone around here is so passionate about vineyards and winemaking, and to be connected to those kinds of people is really amazing experience, and the energy is infective, it's contagious, and it's beautiful. And so I totally encourage anybody, even if you're scared about wine, don't let people make you feel like, oh, you don't know anything, you can't participate, or because I kind of feel that way about technology, like, oh, I'll just sit over here in the corner and listen to all you geeky smart people talk about it. But and wine can feel intimidating like that too, but wine doesn't have to be. Wine is actually, it's your friend, and it invites you into experience life in the moment, and that's its beauty. And so whether it comes out of a box or it comes out of a very expensive vessel, if you're ever offered it, take the time just to get to know it in those still moments. And I think that you'll be surprised at what it can offer you about peace and mesmerization and zen and happiness and joy in the moment. Which it's a very rare kind of substance that we don't have a lot of anymore in all of our hustle and bustle. So I totally encourage you, and that's why I describe it kind of towards like scuba diving, because you're not really worried about whether your phone's ringing or anyone's texting you while you're down under the water.
Okay,
Sarah, how do we get your wine? Where do you sell? I mean, how do we find you?
Okay, so it's Sarah Francis Wines, WINES.com. So most of my wine is sold by list through allocations, direct. I don't taste with people a lot. I have maybe a handful to a dozen people a year that I taste with. Most of my wine is bought by word of mouth. But you all are welcome anytime. I would be happy to pour you a glass of wine and sit down and share a beautiful moment.
That would be fantastic.
That's how you get it. And I have a few small distributors who have picked me up, one on the west coast of the United States. They're going to introduce my 2012 vintage when it's released. And a few other small boutique distributors that focus on the Midwest to western part of the United States. And then I have some really cool brokers and exporters who have kind of hunted me down and said, hey, we have certain customers who are interested. Can we ship foreign? And yeah, of course. But that's how.
Good stuff.
Usually through my website. Yeah.
All right. And
When are you guys coming to Napa Valley?
you ship to Australia, right?
I do through a exporter.
Okay, because I know someone who loves Vine, and I think he wants a bottle.
Awesome.
So
Awesome. So
Okay.
when are you guys coming to Napa Valley? It's just, a hop, a skip, and a jump.
yeah, it's like a 24-hour plane ride and that sort of thing.
Yeah, that's nothing.
That's
Or we could all meet in Belize. That's another place. Or not Belize, Bali. That's another place I've always wanted to
Oh,
go.
Bali, yeah. Oh, my mum goes there.
Yeah.
Yeah. She
wow.
she loves it.
That's not very far, right?
What's that?
That's not very far.
Bali, no, it's not that far. Probably about 8 hours, I think. 6 hours.
There you go.
From Australia anyway, yeah.
Yeah. So it's a little farther for me, but I'm willing to do it for you guys.
There you go, Jody. There you go, Hannah and Steve and Jack.
Oh, the sacrifice.
Yeah.
I know. I will put myself through the pain.
Yep.
Maybe we can do it through the internet.
Where
Okay.
can they get hold of you, Sarah, when they want to ask you any questions? Are you on Twitter and Facebook?
I'm on the Facebook. This is kind of silly that Robert Scoble actually has chastised me about this, about how it's Yellow Dog Ralph. That's my dog's name. That's how you find me on Facebook.
Oh, okay, cool.
For
cool.
personal reasons. And it's facebook.com/Sarah Francis Wines. On Twitter, it's Sarah Francis 72 because that was the year I was born. Woo! And right, that's all how else do you need to reach me?
That's good. That's good. And also your Facebook page too. That's a good page too.
Yeah,
People check it out. Okay.
I love Facebook. You guys like Facebook?
Yeah, I love Facebook.
Yeah.
Some people like Twitter. Are you guys? Who's in the Twitter camp and who's in the Facebook camp?
I use both.
All the above.
I like Twitter both. I like both really.
You like both?
I like both. Yeah.
Ladies, you're not talking.
Anna, do you like?
Yeah, all the above. Love both. Yeah. And,
just everything.
Google Plus.
I have a hard time talking in 120 characters or less. I don't know if you know.
What about you, Alan?
Yeah, no, I'm pretty much only on Facebook and Google Plus, and sometimes I'll still get on friend feed, but not too much anymore these days.
All right, Hannah, what about you? We're going to get hold of you and mention the campaign and.
Yeah, so next week's kind of big. You can find stuff happening out on my YouTube channel this coming week, which is at youtube.com/astrobic, like Astro Boy, but Astrobic, B-I-C. Next week, I will be both launching, my band, The Prince of Seagulls, is launching a crowdfunding campaign to get our debut album out. The Prince of Seagulls is myself and Paul Harmon, and we've been working on tracks for a few years now, and so it's finally time for you all to actually hear it rather than just us listening to our own music, which is nice, but you can listen to it too. So that's going to be happening. A video will be on YouTube for that very, very soon, next week. And also, last year, I made a music video for a track I made called Crab Dancers. And the video is just about finally finished. Hooray! So next week, you can watch the Crab Dancers video, which involves me dressed up in an 80s leotard and dancing around with crab claws on my hands. So yeah, it's pretty good fun.
All right. You're on Twitter, Hannah, as well?
Yeah, I'm everywhere, but yeah,
Hannah
all
Silver.
the important things will be, yes, Hannah Silver, Hannah without the H. The important things will be on YouTube. You'll find it there.
Good stuff. Okay, Alex, what about you? What's your point of view on this show, and where can they get hold of you?
Sorry, what was that?
What's your Twitter name and stuff, and that's what
I think I'm IT blogger on Twitter. Pretty much I'm IT blogger Alex Scoble everywhere.
Okay. What's your blog about? Give us a quick plug for your blog.
Usually it's about IT management stuff, although I haven't been blogging very much of late. I think mostly I've been hanging around private stuff, although I do have done a couple of GitHub projects now related to Puppet.
Okay. Cool, good stuff. All right, you can get me on Twitter at Brad Oz and Techwebcast. Jody, what about you?
You can find me on Twitter as Sunswept, and you can find me most of the usual places as either Jody Rains or as WebMarcom. My website is webmarcom.net. Or here on Tech Webcast.
Exactly. Yep. And good to have you back on, Jody. Andrew will be back next week.
Yay!
Which is going to be good.
Yay.
Yay. And so with Jennifer, she's away sick at the moment.
Aw. Boo.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jacob, what about you? What's your final view of this show and your Twitter name and stuff?
I was wanting to ask one more final question.
Go ahead.
It actually goes with Napa Valley. Have you met Emerald Lagasse? He's been through there.
You know what? I actually met him before in New Orleans, and my very good friends own a restaurant in Cape Girardeau, Missouri, on the port on the Mississippi River called Celebrations, and they helped actually train Emerald Lagasse. It's a great place. If you're ever in Missouri, go visit Celebrations in Cape Girardeau and talk with Mrs. Pat, and she can tell you all about Emerald Lagasse. And then, bam, you can take it up a notch.
There you go, Jacob.
Bam!
Okay.
There you go. Get in your car, Jacob, and start driving, mate. Steve, what about you?
It was an awesome show. It was an awesome show, and I liked it so much, I'd even go down to Napa Valley and stomp on our grapes for free.
There you go, mate.
And, and you can find
Come
me on
on down.
You can find me on Twitter as Chatterbox_live.
Okay. Did I miss anyone?
I did not plug, Brad.
Go ahead, Jacob.
You can follow me at jazzbot326691Z.
Okay, good stuff. And Sarah, thanks for being on. Appreciate your time.
Thank you for having me. It was awesome. It was such a blessing to be able to speak with all of you. Thank you.
Yep, no problem. Hannah, thank you for being on. Appreciate your time as well.
My pleasure. Anytime.
Saturday afternoon. And Alex, thanks for being on, mate.
Hey, thanks for having me on again.
And you can come back any time. Any of you is more welcome to come back on. And yeah.
Fun.
And yeah, Sarah, you too, Sarah. You too, you can come on and talk.
Awesome.
Talk tech as well, and chat with Jody and Jennifer and Steve, and yeah.
And the whole crazy crew.
Yeah.
And Brad, thank you.
No problem.
For being the backbone and making this happen every week.
Yeah, thanks, Brad.
He just missed me. Keith T.
Brad, this is a really great show. It's really awesome.
No, you get no problem, Sarah. Thanks for being on, mate. I like what you do, and it's great.
And as soon as we have the wine, he'll be even happier.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, someone actually mentioned about can we get any free sample wine at all, Sarah?
You know what? I will look into it and see what I can do.
All right,
I can't promise anything, but I will totally see if I can. If I can make it happen, absolutely.
All right.
We'll have to take a run out to Napa Valley, I think.
Oh, hey, I'll even drink it live during my show. I'll broadcast it live. How's that?
Definitely do it. Yeah, do it, Steve. Yeah, do it.
Yeah,
sure.
do it. Don't. Yeah.
I think Keith T wants to come back on just for 1 minute. I think he does, but anyway, we'll wrap up now, and that's about it. Thanks, guys, for being on.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Okay, my Skype needs to minimize. It's not minimized. Okay.
Well, that's it for Tech Webcast this week. Thank you for tuning in. We hope you enjoyed having your mind expanded. Tune in next week for more tech talk with Brad, Jason, and whatever crazy guest they've managed to rope in. Don't forget to get the Tech Webcast app from iTunes. Follow us on Twitter at Techwebcast, and of course check us out on Facebook too. Until next time, may the tech be with you. Peace.